What is up, guys and gals? This is Brandon back on Motor Nubs, and today I'm in Peyton's Integra. It's the Turbo GSR Integra, but it's got a little issue where whenever it's really hot outside, it goes lean and boosts. So I'm just driving this in the meantime to get me up to advance to get some parts, because I'm actually working on my boat today, and I'm waiting on the head gasket to come in for my Integra. And I'm waiting to get my truck back from J Mills Tuning. He's working on, I got a huge boost leak somewhere on my 7.3 diesel. So once I get that back from J Mills Tuning, I'm going to drop off Peyton's GSR Integra to touch up the tune. I think we're going to turn up the boost a little bit more. It was on 6 pounds. It made like 270. He's looking to break 300 on stock block GSR. It absolutely should be able to do it. Yeah, so... I did talk to Peyton. He is going to be coming over. He's bringing an aftermarket fuel pump, and we're going to put that in the Integra. It already has aftermarket, I think 550cc injectors, but it's still on stock pump, so that could be limiting it. But let's get this puppy started up, and let's go to advance. Okay, we're just cruising along right now in Peyton's GSR Integra. It is turboed, and the air fuels just cruising are staying around the 14s, occasional 15s. But as soon as I go to ease into some boost, it just goes straight flat lean. Like you can't give it any boost. You can creep around on it and it's fine, which that's all I'm doing with the car right now. He's letting me borrow it. Thank you, Peyton. While my truck's getting fixed, because right now the only thing I have is my truck, my Turbo Integra, and I do have my boat, which y'all are gonna see later on in this video. I talked to a couple people from the comment section of my last video, and I got into a little bit of an email conversation with 2 of them, and they were like, you know what, you just need to put out videos. If you're working on stuff, do it. So normally I wouldn't record stuff like this, especially just like changing a fuel pump in this car, or doing what I'm about to do on my my boat. But you know what, I might as well record it all. It's all mechanically inclined, so it all kind of fits back to that core, you know, working on it in your backyard by yourself, just friends and stuff helping out. So yeah, that's kind of the direction that the channel is going to go in. We're still doing turbo stuff, we're still doing cars, but you might see a little bit more truck, you might see a little boat. Nothing wrong with that. So yeah, let's go to advance. But the background on what's going on with the boat is here's a little story time real quick. Me and my brother took my boat out, which is it's a 1989 Mastercraft ski boat. We took it out to our local lake the other day, and we were just trying to go out there and have a good time on the water, do a little wake surfing, because I'm not a good wakeboarder. I'm really not a good wake surfer either. I just like to do it, have fun. But anyway, we get the boat out there. We're out there for maybe, I don't know, 2 hours. We stop, we eat a little bit on the water. We're waiting on some people to come meet up with us, girlfriend's coming out, that kind of thing. And then all of a sudden I get a call, and the girlfriend's like, yeah, I'm gonna be to the dock a little bit earlier. So I'm like, okay, that's no big deal. I'll come pick you up. So I go to fire the boat up. It starts up, purrs beautifully. Background on the motor, this 1989 Mastercraft has a Ford 351 Windsor. It's a V8, pretty common Ford motor. It's carbureted. It's like no bells and whistles, just an old American V8. Starts up, runs beautifully. This boat gave me no problems last year. Little things, no mechanical problems. And about probably 5 minutes back, just cruising along maybe 25-30 mile an hour, not even full throttle. We were about half to 3/4 throttle. The boat's not very fast, by the way. And then all of a sudden it starts puttering, like pop, 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 pop. And of course I didn't have any cameras with me, because back, you know, that was a couple days ago. That was before I decided to start recording like everything that has to do with cars and motors and stuff. And I mean, it's got a motor, but anyway, but it puttered and cut off. So then I went through, like, you know, through my head, the troubleshooting. What could it be? What couldn't it be? So I first start checking, and I pull the air filter off the carburetor. I'm like, Peyton, is it getting any fuel? And he's like, no, it's not squirting any fuel. I don't know what's going on. So I'm like, okay, well, let me pull the fuel line off the carburetor. We turn it over because it's got a manual fuel pump to see if it's going to be squirting fuel out. And it's not squirting fuel out. So we're like, okay, maybe let me pull the feed off Hold on, I'm getting a phone call. I'll pick this right back up. All right, so let's pick up back where we were. So we motoring back in, the boat cut off. I check spark, I got spark. I check fuel, we got no fuel. Then I go back to the fuel tank, I tap on it, it's empty. And we notice the bottom of the boat, there's always a little bit of water in the bottom, and I have automatic bilge, and it just bilges out as the water comes up a little bit. It's never been real bad, but I noticed there's like more water in there than normal, and the bilge is running. And I smell the water that's in the bottom of the boat. It smells like gas. So I go ahead and flip the bilge off, and I'm like, oh my gosh, my gas tank, you know, 2 and 2, it just clicked right there. My gas tank was leaking fuel inside of the boat. So the gas tank's completely empty. The fuel that's in the boat is way too watery to try to reuse. So I ended up calling my cousin. He was out on the lake on his boat, and he got us towed back in. So now that's where we are right now. I just got the boat back to my house, and I started pulling the panels back so I can actually see all of the tank. Just went by Advance, y'all didn't see that, but got some fuel resistant gasket maker. So let's go try to fix this leak. We down here, J Mills tuning. He'd been touching on my truck a little bit. Looks like he just backed it out. It's been boost leaking real bad. It's got an aftermarket turbo in it with a billet wheel or whatever, but it was only making about 5 pounds of boost, even on the hot tune, turned all the way up. So couldn't deal with that anymore, and I brought it down here because I don't have a boost leak checker, and everything to the eye and to the touch looked good. But now James has got to deal with it. So J Mills Tuning, that's the plug right there. Alright guys, we're back and we're inside my boat. If y'all haven't seen my boat before, here, let me do a quick little walk around right now. Alright, so my boat is a Mastercraft Tristar 190. This is definitely an older boat. It's a 1989, so it's got some age on her, that's for sure, but I always wanted a boat, and never had one before, so I wanted to get something that I could use to ski and or wakeboard with, and this is kind of what the first thing that came up. Now as for the interior, because the actual hull is in really good shape, I bought it out of Florida, and it was only a 2-owner boat, didn't have a lot of hours on it, so it was relatively unscathed. Now the interior is another story. It had seen a lot of sunlight, and all the interior is cracking and peeling up. See, I got some duct tape right there covering up a spot that was peeling up on top of the engine cover. But one big thing that I did like about this boat is a lot of times the floors will rot out in old boats. And Mastercraft, being that it's a good, decent quality brand, is they made the floors out of fiberglass, so the floors don't rot when they get wet. So all the floor is solid in this. It's just everything kind of needs to be updated. But let's go back inside and I'll show you the current issue that we're having with the boat at the moment. Alright, so like I was telling y'all earlier, the boat was leaking fuel, and if you look right around here, I filled the tank up with water, and whenever the boat is on an incline or anything, because it pitches upwards whenever we go, it'll leak water out of the seal right here, and then that doesn't leave very much gas in the tank, or it'll leak gas out of that tank, out of that seal. That's the sending unit. The sending unit does not work from the fuel gauge, so I need to pull it out anyway. And I went to Advance, and this is what they recommended. It's fuel resistant gasket maker. So I'm gonna make me a new gasket around that seal and put it all back together. But let's see if we can get that fuel gauge to work too, because that would have saved me a lot of diagnostic if I just knew that the tank was empty. But yeah, let's get to ripping it apart. So I got the fuel sender out, and if you can see down there, the gasket is all kinds of tore up. It looks like the tank doesn't seem to be losing any water, because I filled it up with water from anywhere else except for around where that gasket was. So yeah, I'm gonna probably run down to, there's a boat shop not too far away, and see if they can give me a replacement, just even a universal one, because I would like for my fuel gauge to actually work. And if y'all are interested in like kind of me recording, bringing a GoPro out or something while we go out and do some shenanigans on the water, just let me know, comment down below. If not, and you just want to see the actual hands-on working on stuff, we can definitely just keep it that way. But yeah, so thank you guys for being so supportive, and let's get this thing fixed. Okay, so here is the cinder, like I was talking about, and you can see right there the gasket is all kinds of tore up. So this is probably the original one from 1989, aka it's done. And if I like let it try to, it doesn't really move freely on its own. So that's probably why the fuel gauge never works on it. But yeah, we're headed to the boat store right now, see if we can find something to replace it. Hopefully they have something for 1989. All right, guys, check it out. Boom, got one brand new. Apparently this is like a universal model, but it will work. I'll just have to make the bends for the actual, like the length, because this one's too long. But got out for like under 30 bucks just down here at the boat place right now. About to leave and head back and get this thing in and see if we can. All right, guys, we're back here in the boat, and I have the new cinder just hooked up, just mocked up real quick. I haven't bent anything to make it work yet. I just wanted to see if it actually worked on the gauge, and guess what? Watch this. Look at that. It works. So yeah, super stoked about that. I'm gonna have to cut down and bend this wire a little bit so it's not so long and it kind of matches the other one. But before that, I got a bunch of water in the tank. I need to pump all that water out, so I got me a little transfer pump right here, and let's see how bad this ends up being. Alright, so what I got right here is the fuel transfer pump. I got the line going into there, so we're going to pump all this water that I had put into the fuel tank. I'll pump it right there, and it'll just drain out of the hole for the boat. So let's time lapse this. Got that gas and they always be smoking like a Rasta. Fucking with me, call up on the Uzi and show up, man, them the shot. Alright, so I got the new cinder and I got it bent up to where it's not going to bottom out on the tank, or shouldn't at least, and it's also going to read full when it's all the way up. So I'm going to put it in and just mock it up right now and see how it does. Alright, so I got the fuel cinder in with the new gasket, and I am going to go ahead and go over and fill up the fuel tank with water again. So after I emptied it all, I'm going to fill it back up with water, and we're going to see if the fuel cinder is working and also if we have any more leaks. So I'm going to put the camera on the fuel gauge, and I guess we'll get a cool little shot of it filling up, hopefully. Alright, going to go fill it up now. Alright, so the fuel cinder actually works perfectly. I'll call that an overwhelming success. And now I'm just waiting to see if we get any leaks. So I'm going to pump it all the way up till it starts overflowing out of the side. And I'm just filling it up with water right now. And I'm going to have to pump that all back out after I make sure that nothing's leaking. So, yeah. Alright guys, well thanks for watching. I did end up pumping the tank all the way back up and there's no leaks. I'm going to let that sit probably overnight, and just to make sure I haven't lost any water. I put the plug in there so that way I can tell if it has water in there tomorrow, then I'll know that I lost some and the tank is still leaking. Hopefully not. Cross your fingers for me. Cross your fingers for me? Yeah. And got the puppies are sleeping in the background. But yeah, so hopefully tomorrow, got a big day tomorrow. The head gasket's supposed to be back in for my car, so I can slap that back together, and I'd like to get my car back together and back down to the dyno. My truck might be done at J Mills, possibly, I don't know. He's run into a little bit of issues trying to hunt down where the boost leak is. Whenever that's done, we'll be able to bring my brother's car down, but before we do that, we still have to change out the fuel pump. Peyton, I'm talking to you. You need to come down. Let's put that pump in that car. So Peyton got a 320 liter per hour fuel pump to put in there to replace the stock one. So it should let those 550cc injectors push all the fuel. So it should be a whole lot better. And yeah, so today's pretty much ended up being a pretty productive day. But that's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. So I'll see y'all on the next one. I'm going to try to keep it to, I don't know, an upload every couple days. Don't hold me to it, but I'm trying to, guys. I'm trying. Thank you for watching. This is Brandon on Motor Nubs, and I'll see you on the next one. Adios.